Arsenal 4, Spurs 1. Again, for the second time this season, Arsenal absolutely thumped them. 6 points from Spurs this season. North London is red, remains red. Was there ever any doubt? There is so much to unpack in a fantastic performance from Arsenal. This is the Real Arsenal Deal podcast. Hello and welcome back to the Real Arsenal Deal. This is Rav, as always, your host. How is everyone today? A good morning from a bit of a chilly, cold morning here in Melbourne, Australian time. The match finished about 45 minutes ago. I've been smiling like the Cheshire Cat since. Fantastic result for Arsenal. I'm kind of delirious, as I tend to be, because I've been up since 3:30 this morning. Well, actually about 10 past 3 by the time. I just couldn't sleep last night. I was feeling nervous about this one. You know, it was a big performance needed from Arsenal. A lot of pressure over the last few days after that disappointing draw at Wolves. And there was just a lot riding on this match. I think we've all sensed that we just need a big moment. We need a big victory from Arsenal, that feel-good factor, just to reignite that spark, regain momentum, which is just, we're still poised so well in the season, even after Manchester City won yesterday. I know that looking at the table and looking at all the mathematical permutations and stuff, but it just seemed that spark had just flattened lately. We needed something just to lift the spirits, galvanize the group and the fans and the club, and just drive momentum forward. And what better time to play Spurs? I mean, seriously. Can we play them every week? Is that even possible? We've taken 6 points from them this season. I think it's 8-2 now on aggregate across the 8 open play goals. I mean, they just seem to solve all of our problems, right? I hear them referred to as Dr. Tottenham for a reason. Anytime you're in need of a fix or something, just go and play Tottenham. Look, seriously, this is an enormous result for Arsenal and a huge performance that was needed. I want to get into the actual game state, the players, the performances, selection. I will also say is that look, once again, Spurs they're just terrible. They really are. I watched this game and if anything, 4-1 flatters them. We had so many chances, especially in that first half, and I just had that sense of dread that Rice mistake out of nowhere, and that they equalised when they really didn't deserve anything. They didn't show anything else otherwise. It's 1-1 at half time. I'm aware of the narrative that it's new manager bounce. They've had 12 days to prepare. We played 3 times since, and going deeper and deeper into the match, we could be overrun by fresh legs, even accounting for their injuries. I know that, but still, they're just not very good. And I think on another day, all those circumstances for Arsenal, the fatigue and the pressure, etc., maybe would have come back to bite us. I think in this instance, it worked in our favour. And you have to you need a little bit of fortune now and then. You need a bit of a 50-50 call to go your way as well with that with the Spurs when it could have been 2-2 in the second half with that Gabriel incident. I'll come back to that a little later. But I think just it was just a nice feeling that for a few of these chips to land in Arsenal's favour this time. And we responded so well after half-time. If anything, I reckon that the team talk would have been at half-time that we absolutely dominated, and we've left so many goals out there. We should have been further ahead. We could have even been out of sight. But this league, it is so unpredictable. It is as competitive as I can recall. In my 30 years watching football, anyone on any given day can show up on the day, and Spurs had plenty of incentive, plenty of motivation for this one to derail Arsenal and to rain on our parade. That's kind of, as I was saying in my pre-match recording a few days ago, that's kind of all they've got. And you saw the way the stadium was set up for that. It was set up for that narrative, that display, the North London since, what did it say? Since 1882 or something. I mean, it's one of those just little obsessions that they can just cling on to. They don't really have anything else. This whole sort of territorial thing about, we were here first and you guys moved from South London, from Woolwich. And at some point, you got to move on. I mean, I don't get it. Look, I understand. I'm saying this with the privilege of being an Arsenal fan from the other side of the world here in Melbourne, Australia. I'm sure it means a lot more to it from people who are locals from Islington, Highbury, in that area of North London. So please, you can school me as always. However, at some point, you've got to move on. There's a bigger picture. I mean, that stuff happened over 100 years ago. Were any of us even around at the time when it happened? Anyway, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but suffice to say that there was plenty of incentive for Spurs to come on in and kick us while we're down. And what was great is Arsenal didn't allow it. We turned up, we showed up. We had big performances from big players. Again, we had a boost with selection with Odegaard returning to the bench. I thought it would be, the game's come too short for him to start so soon. I know Arteta said a couple of days ago that Odegaard and Havertz are both a big chance. Maybe there was a big bit of gamesmanship or something, but I didn't really anticipate either of them featuring heavily at all. I believe Havertz is a hamstring injury, so that would have been a real surprise to see him back. And we've got to be really careful with Kai Havertz now. We've got so much to play for in the next few months, and he's such an integral footballer. So we need to be very cautious with him and not rush him. And now with a week off, by the way, there's a week's break between this and Chelsea. I cannot recall the last time happening, like to have a full week off, no midweek match. I think I read it was early mid-December. It was well before Christmas. The schedule is just unrelenting. It's just non-stop since then. Fatigue, it manifests itself in many different ways. I do believe that those little moments you saw from Zubimendi against United a couple of weeks back and Rice even this morning, fatigue, it does fatigue-induced mistakes. It is a thing. So just to have the respite of a week off now, and going back to what I was saying earlier, we've got the boost of that momentum, that real feel-good factor. Imagine the feeling amongst the club this week now, off the back of a thumping 4-1 win, to go back 5 points ahead at the top of the table. Yes, we have the game in hand, but you got to do your job. Points on the board is what matters. You just got to lay the marker, put the points on the board, don't give the other teams a sniff, right? And we've done enough of that of late. We need to go and respond now and be absolutely resolute with authority, what we do from here on in. So a week now to prepare for Chelsea at home next week off the back of this feel-good factor. Imagine the players just having this boost, having a few days off. You saw the smiles return to the players, that energy, that awesome feel-good, cup-full factor amongst the club and the fans, and just to have a few days off and just prepare for Chelsea. This is fantastic for the club. This is like a mini reset. The 11 was otherwise as pretty much what we expected, I reckon. Maybe there was a question mark over right back. Is it time to bring Ben White back in? Timber has struggled of late, and I'm glad that this match, before Arteta subbed him off, he was showing signs again of flagging a little bit. Just a couple of sprayed passes. I believe he was subbed off on the 56, 57 minute mark. I'll recall just before that he had possession, tried to lump a ball forward. I think it was looking for Gyökeres again. And yeah, just the ball sort of just got turned over and he was already on a yellow card. And I'm really, really glad. I'm really impressed that this time Arteta made the call, made the change. You've got options on the bench. This time it was Mosquera who was brought on. And that's all you need to do. You just got to manage and protect players and react in real time. So other than that, I think it was pretty much the 11 that I expected. You have to play Eze in this match. You just do. There's something about Spurs. He absolutely owns them. A hat trick in the home match, and now he's doubled it up here again. He's got 5 goals in 2 appearances for them, so 5 of his 6 Premier League goals are against Spurs. You have to play him. You just have to find a way. Some of these things don't make sense when you look at the way Eze, how sometimes he's been quite ineffective against other teams. In between these matches, it's been over 3 months between those Premier League goals, I believe it is. So it doesn't make sense, but you just find a way. You put him out there on the pitch and there's something about it. Like they're rattled by him as well. And he's just got that swagger and confidence to go and make them pay and punish them. And you just have to play him. And I'm glad Arteta did. He released him. He got shots on target again. He should have had more as well. And then it has that moment after his second goal. Was it like a little break dance or something? I laughed. I was laughing in bed at that. I was watching on my iPad. It was like a half mini breakdance mood. This is going to sound petty. I know it's going to sound really, really petty. But there's something about Jesse Lingard about 8, 9, 10 years ago. I can't remember where it was, but when he scored at the Emirates. And I've seen that meme. I see it crop up all the time that when he made the Emirates his dance floor, and then he went to the corner flag and he danced and he had his moment. And you know what? That's just that's the nature of football. That's football banter. No worries. But I have United fans who I barely hear from. Whenever United do well against Arsenal, like last season in the FA Cup, and then a few weeks ago when they defeated Arsenal at the Emirates, I have my WhatsApp chats, they just light up. I have them all on mute for a reason. And every now and then, after a couple of days, I go in and check. And I was like, I don't hear from these people. But I always see that meme. I always see that Jesse Lingard dance scene. And I saw it again with the Cunha one when he had his move. So I'm just It sounds really petty, I know. So just allow me just to have my moment. Just for now, then I'll move on. I'm really glad now I've got something. I can make a little meme of Eza doing a breakdance at White Hart Lane on top of his laughing celebration that he's done a few times this season. He did it again today as well. I love that stuff. So I just feel great knowing that I've just got to. It's petty, I know. It shouldn't be about that, but I've just got a little meme that I can tuck away up my sleeve and use when I need to. So thank you, Ebbs, again. And then to round off the team, it's Gyokeres at centre forward, and nice to see Trossard start out there on the left. So I felt that with Trossard there, Saka back onto the right with Gyökeres in the middle, that's a combination that I feel much more comfortable about because there's a lot of technical quality in there now. Too often over the last few matches, I felt just got the combinations wrong. Martinelli and Madueke with Gyökeres, I just felt we didn't have that ball retention. Just between, I think you can carry all three players at once, right? There's obviously, you can't always be perfect and trap every single ball and win the second duels. But just with the three of them together as a combination, I just feel we've done it too many times. And Arteta hasn't reacted. But this time he did accordingly. I thought Trossard's much more assured. He's got quick feet, nimble, go left foot, right foot. He covers a lot of space in the area, drifts across the pitch as he needs to. He's got license to do that, and he keeps the ball. So I just felt much more comfortable with them. When I saw the team line, I just had an excellent feeling that, yeah, this is actually the right combination of players. And when you look at the bench, we've got options yet again to turn the game. As I've already mentioned, having Odegaard there as well, you know he was going to come on. We've struggled late in matches with just maintaining control, stringing passes together, keeping that press going and keeping our shape and direction. And having Odegaard there, I knew that he was going to come on and feature heavily in the second half. So just overall, as a picture, zooming out, I felt great about this team. I felt great about the combination, and from the start, we showed it. We were right on it from the get-go. And if anything, we took too long to get that opening goal. We had a number of chances early on. Gyökeres he looked good today. He looked switched on from the moment he was cutting inside onto that right foot. And I felt he should have scored earlier. I will come back to his 2 goals in the second half because they were just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But between him and Saka and Eza, we just had that driving run forward energy. Like we were creating chances, we were causing chaos. Again, I will just caveat this with knowing that, Spurs are quite terrible. They had a very open shape. I don't know what was going on in their midfield. There was just gaping holes. I kept on wondering at some point, we're not going to be able to play through them continually. At some point, they're going to make a change or there's going to be a shift here, but they didn't do it. We just kept on. The ball would come out. They couldn't keep it. We'd win the ball back and we just sweep forward again. I was just thinking to myself, at some point, after 15, 18, 20, 25 minutes, we got to score here because you're not going to keep getting these chances. How wrong I was, by the way, and gladly. Spurs really played into our hands. And it's just one of those things where when teams step up against Arsenal, when teams are open this season, we absolutely smack them. We've done it in Europe. We've done it in the Premier League. It's just so often that Arsenal, we face low blocks for a reason because teams are actually, look, I can't really say it any other way, but teams are scared. Teams are scared because they know that they will be cut apart by Arsenal. We're that good. We have the technical quality to take you to the cleaners and score a cluster of goals in a short space of time. So this is why we face such low, deep blocks. Spurs they didn't have the manpower. Maybe they just didn't have the quality even. But it was just a very different. It was 2 teams at different ends of the table for a reason. We were so much better than them, and we just didn't have the goals to show for it at half time. Thankfully, though, in the second half, we did. We put our foot to the floor. As I said earlier, my worries were that the longer and longer it stays level deeper into the match, then, I was worried about being picked off again. In the final, 10, 15 minutes. Because up until then, it was a very chaotic, high tempo, high energy sort of game, which doesn't always suit Arsenal. We can match it with the best of them. But as the game goes on and as we go in full throttle back and forth, I just felt that fatigue, that those fresh legs would become more and more of a prevailing factor. But, full credit to Arsenal here because not only did we get the second goal, but we pressed on from there and we got the third soon after. So let's talk about Gyokeres' opener. It was an outstanding finish, just so good, so clinical. A real authoritative display from Gyökeres today. Look, we know You know the conversation about him. We don't need to have we don't need to pick it all apart again. We know that first touch sometimes a bit clunky, a bit rough. He can turn over the ball, right? We know he's not a high touch. He's not going to be, 95, 100% passing accuracy. We know all that. But what we do want is that get the man into the right areas, give him the chance, play him in early, give him that space, and look what he can do. And boy, he did it. He did it well today. I think he had three clear-cut shots that I can recall. That one in the first half that he probably should have hit the target on, but it went wide of the post. But in the second half, it's a fantastic ball from Timber on the right. It's a repeated entry. We've gone in early. I believe it was Saka's down the right combination. They've cleared it out. We've won it back in midfield again, played it across to Timber. He's got too much space again, like where they haven't closed him down, and you've got to punish them. You absolutely got to take full advantage, because it seems like from an Arsenal point of view, any slight mistake we do, we are punished to the maximum. You saw that in the first half with that Declan Rice moment where he hesitated and we got picked off and Colin Muani scored, and full credit to him. But this time we're afforded so much space. Timber's played a fantastic ball in. There's no midfield. There's no holding midfielder there to intercept and clear it. And Gyokeres has just gone, thank you very much. He's taken it cleanly with his first touch on his right boot, and he's just taken it. He's just played himself the space to swivel around and just rocket it. And that's what you want. Someone who just absolutely laces the ball into the back of the net. We know this whole narrative around Arsenal, just trying to walk the ball into the net, and I understand all of that. It is frustrating sometimes too, when we play too many passes, or maybe we overcomplicate things when they should be more easier. Then you see a moment like that, and just football just becomes transcendent, becomes so simple. Is that get a lethal finisher, give him what he needs, give him space, time, the top of the box in front of goal, and just let him do his thing. And he probably does that 200-300 times a week in training. And that's what you want, replicate it in a match situation where it matters. And he took the ball and rocketed. And you know what? Actually, the moment it left his boot, I kind of half celebrated. Well, as much as celebrating I could do when I'm watching in bed and everyone else is asleep in the household. But I knew that was a goal. I just had that feeling. And seeing the back of the net ripple, I lost it. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was just a magnificent moment. And I've seen this replay a number of times even since, because I didn't record straight after the match because I was actually waiting for the sun to rise. It's dawn now, but it was pitch black by the time the match finished. So I didn't want to come out and record this. So I had a bit of time. I showed my sons as they woke up, showed those clips, and what really was telling to me, I implore you to watch this again. Watch in the background of Gyökeres' celebration. Sure, he's done the Bain celebration, which I love. He's gone to the left side of goal, away from the Arsenal away end. He's just gone to the other side. And he celebrated a couple of teammates. Watch in the background. Watch Gabriel. Gabriel is the one who's motioning him over. He's actually gathering the players. He marshaled them all, go in front of the away end, go to the away fans, and to really celebrate and galvanize there. Now, this is just... I might be making too much of this. For me, I see the significance in this. That is leadership right there. That was a huge leadership moment from Gabriel. He's the one who recognizes the game state. He knows what's at stake. He knows, right, how big of a moment that is and how much there's still so much work to do. There's still about 35, 40 minutes to go, by the way. So it's by far no means job done, not at all. But he knew, get the players together, get him in front of the home fans, get that energy, that boost, that belief back, and we can ride out that wave, ride out the adrenaline that's going to propel us through the rest of the match. I thought it was awesome by Gabriel. I really did. And he was pushing Gyökeres forward, let him have his moment, let him celebrate. I loved it. That is genuine leadership right there. You don't get a stat for it. I know it's not a goal or an assist, but right then, I love Gabriel. I love what he recognized in that moment. So please, if you can watch it again, let me know if you agree or not. So we kept coming, we kept going, and we were looking for a third, and we probably should have had it. I mean, how many times was Saka played in today? Look, Bukayo was fantastic this game. He'd be kicking himself, right, for not having a goal to show for it. He was played in a few times. The first, look, is it good goalkeeping or is it the fact of Saka kicking it straight into Viktor? I don't quite know. The classic case of the keeper made himself big. He blocked the shot. Could Saka have gone over him or under him? I don't quite know. It's one of those things where we were played in well, and you just got to keep going. Saka found himself in a lot of space, driving in. And as I said, he'd be kicking himself not to have a goal to show for it. Even with the one where Eze scored his second, that's right. It was actually a Bukayo chance. The ball, we've turned it over in midfield yet again. We've swept forward. It's Eze who's played in. Saka is about to shoot on his left foot. I think the defender got a block to it. Did he? Or was it Say? No, I believe it was a block. So good defending in the end, but the ball has just scrambled into a chaotic moment. Keeper's out of the picture. Eze just takes it, whacks it in. 3-1, and that was fantastic. And that's when I really, really felt. I felt the energy just dissipate from the crowd. It was like popping a balloon, because we know that the chaos of a North London derby, a 1-goal lead is not enough at the best of times. Arsenal have shown that lately. So you got to go and press forward. You got to press the advantage. At 3-1, it was just what we needed, because we took the life out of the game. We sucked the energy out of that stadium. And what it allowed us to do was just to control the next 15, 20 minutes. It was very quiet in that stadium. It wasn't raucous like it was before. You just felt the mood, that they just knew that they were facing the inevitable defeat yet again against Arsenal. So that was really important, because if you don't get that goal, you're leaving yourself open to the chaos. And as I said, that is to be redlining, to be playing at that level, that intense emotional level. That's when mistakes happen. That's where fatigue happens. That's where injuries happen too. But Arsenal, full credit. We put the foot on the throat and we got the third goal. I will say, actually, now's a good time to mention this. I do believe Arsenal were fortunate to have their goal ruled out at 2-2. If that was at our end, yes, I would concede that there was a push. There were hands in the back of the defender. But also, look, again, maybe this is gamesmanship. Maybe this is leadership. Like Gabriel knew he had to make the most of it. He had to make sure the refs saw it. Because if he stayed up tall and he's been sort of, and he didn't sort of flop down to the ground to make it more obvious, the goal probably stands. So Gabriel knows as well that he's got to go down to make sure the ref saw it. And thankfully, he actually paid it live, because when you watch it on replay, right, had the goal stood, had the referee not blown his whistle and they were just checking for a foul anyway, I don't think there'd be enough in that incident for VAR to say to the ref, hey, I think you made a mistake. You come over and have a look. I mean, we know it's Arsenal, right? When do we really get those calls anyway from VAR? So that was a very, very welcome moment. I don't like talking about officiating stuff at the best of times, as long-term listeners of my channel would know, but I have to be balanced. I have to give credit where credit is due. I do think we got a bit fortunate there with that one. Would I take it? Absolutely. Am I going to complain? Not at all. So thankfully, 2-2 was ruled out, and it became 2-1, and we could just press forward from there. We didn't quite get the Eza hat-trick this time, unfortunately, but look, I'm not going to complain about that either. We've made 2 more substitutions. Odegaard has come on to see out that last phase of the game, as mentioned before. Martinelli came on for Trossard. Martinelli had a few half moments getting on the left, but look, that was more about as well just making sure we had an outlet, we had pace on the wings. We had a counter-attack available if need be, just if Spurs want to press higher and higher. Martinelli looming over the defender's shoulder. That gives them something to think about. So it's probably a tactical move there as well. Did we make a 5th substitution? How many have I gone through? Yes, I've already mentioned Mosquera, Odegaard, Martinelli. That's right. Saka's rolled his ankle. I had a bad feeling about this one. When I saw that happen and I saw the reverse replays, you see his ankle get rolled underneath him and you saw the look of pain on his face, the grimace from him. I was fearing the worst. I'm a worrier by trade anyway at the best of times, I know. But thankfully he looked okay. He was on the pitch. After the match, he had a big smile on his face. He was clapping with the players, high-fiving way in front of the home fans too. I think he gave his boots or his shirt to a young fan there, so he looked okay to me. Reading into that, I'm hoping it's just maybe just a rolled ankle or something. He's got a week off now to prepare. They'd be icing him, looking after him, no risk taken. But I'm hoping it's nothing any more severe than that. Other than that, it was just a resounding victory and a resounding display from Arsenal. It was just great to see the post-match scenes. I mean, you saw all the empty seats as in the final few minutes, as the Spurs fans knew the inevitable was happening. And then what I really, really appreciate as well is that we had the icing on the cake. That 4th goal, the 2nd goal for Gyokeres, that was so important for Arsenal, for him as well. Just his confidence, where he just looks different. He looks like a player who's just playing with real authority and conviction now. Really well won ball deep on the left-hand side. It was actually Gyokeres involved in the initial duel. He's on the ground. He gets up. He sees Odegaard there, makes the run. Odegaard just slips him in beautifully. The strength of Gyokeres is really critical here. He's got the defender on his left shoulder. He knows what he wants to do straight away. He wants the ball to cut inside onto his right foot to take the shot. Very, very similar sort of position at the other end of the field in the first half. The chance that I've mentioned a few times that unfortunately he didn't hit the target with. This time there was no doubt of it. When he's played in there, I had that same sense, that same feeling that he's played it in onto his right foot. He's got a side of goal. He's got the defender exactly where he wants him. He's opened his body up and rocket, bang. That's what you want. Just someone who can just strike the ball like that. We've got to get him into these positions more often. And sure, it's a It's a bit of a two-way street. Gyokeres needs to present himself more and time his runs better, and we also need to pick him out better. It goes hand in hand. But just to see Odegaard in that position now, there's something there. There's a relationship there. Gyokeres looks different when it's Odegaard in behind him. He looks different when it's Eze, whether it's on the left, as it was early season, or Eze in behind him, or even Havertz recently before Havertz's injury, unfortunately. So we just got to get these combinations right, because look at what we can unlock. We've got the players there with that capacity, and we can flourish if we just make the right decisions and have the right combinations in these sorts of situations. It was a fantastic goal as well, the Bane celebration, which I always love. You've heard me talk before that I'm a huge Batman fan, huge, enormous fan of superheroes. So every time I see that Bane mask celebration, there's a big smile on my face. And again, he's in front of the away crowd, and we could really have that moment now. That fourth goal, it really means a lot, because you can really grind their noses into the dirt. You saw what it meant to the players, the fans, the club, to Arteta and Heinz on the sidelines. It was a brilliant moment to cap it off. And thankfully, job done. 3 points again. So that's 6 points from Spurs this season. We now go 5 clear at the top of the Premier League table. Game in hand, I know, but we just got to keep getting our job done, tick things over week by week, a week to prepare now for Chelsea. So I'm going to bring this one to a close. I'm probably going to watch the game and watch all the clips again during the day. But look, please let me know how you're feeling. Please let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please consider liking, subscribing. It would mean a lot to the channel. Thank you. If you're listening on audio platforms, please follow the show. Leave me a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. It would mean a lot. And please, any feedback you've got, anything I can do better, anything you agree or disagree with, I read every single word. Please do reach out. Don't hesitate. Thank you so much for watching again, and please enjoy this moment too, because this is just what we needed as a fan base. And the players, they stepped up today, just like what we wanted, and we've got to back them in to keep doing this as we hone in on this Premier League title. So thank you so much. Look after yourselves. Enjoy the day. Relish in the victory. I'll talk to you all again in a few days' time. Until then, look after yourselves. Check in with your loved ones. Come on, Arsenal.